So, I'm currently reading the third book in the Maze Runner series, and I've never had a book just make me need to stop reading. I've read I'm David, and like the first time I read it wasn't too bothered, but since rereading it, anytime I think about that book, I'm gone. I start crying. Um, and this is the only other book that's made me like get really emotional. Um, and it's not like a love story or anything. I mean, I'm not really into love story kind of books either, but um, it's such a difficult book to process. Um, and if you've if you've clicked on this video, then you've read the first two, or you've seen the first two. If they're out by the time you watch this. Um, and I mean, book two was really hard. I mean, the jump in technology and the violence from book one to book two, it immediately went up there. I mean, um, in book two when book two is called Scorch Trials, when they're walking through um the black hallway, um and um who was it again? I can't remember his name, but the guy gets this silver goop on his head, and it starts um melting around his head and forming around him, and you can hear him screaming in pain, um, because as it creates like a tight seal around her throat and just as a clean cut, and that alone is really difficult to deal with. Um, in terms of you've seen them go through the hell with the Gravers changing, um, Galley, um, him, trying to kill Thomas and Chuck jumping in the way. That alone was really like my friends were asking me, "Oh, how is it?" And I'm just like, just no, just I can't. I'm not ready to process to discuss this. It's too. It's so out there. But I mean, the Death Cure is so much worse. I mean, I haven't finished it yet. I've got um that much to go. I'm just over halfway, and um so hard. I've just gotten the last bit I read um was Newt's note to Thomas. Now, ever since Thomas got that note, I've been trying to work out what he could possibly say. Um, I mean, all through the second book, I thought the flare was a placebo, and I thought that it was part of the trials that they told them this to see how they progress, to see if anyone would go insane by merely telling them they would go insane, to see how their brains work. Um, but so it was hard to process that is the truth. They do actually have it, and that Newt had it. Um, no, I was interested in seeing Newt in the movie, um, because the actor plays also played Featherboy, and I remember really being into that series. It was a short series, but I was interested in seeing that, and it's really hard because I know I'm going to see the rest of these movies if they continue to come out. I know they're currently making the second one, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll pull it through. Um, so if they do successfully make the rest of these movies, it's going to be really hard to watch Newt go through all this and go through all these heartaches and triumphs just to get to this place where he's writing notes to people saying, when the time is right, when I'm too far gone, basically, just kill me. And it's so hard. I mean, all the hell that he's gone through, like I said, dealing with the grievers, dealing with the cranks and then become one himself. And even before he's past the gone, when he's still of sound mind, but you can feel it itching away in the back of his head, just ever so slightly, almost like a grating, kind of like an itch you can't scratch. You can feel it. He knows. He's seen his future. He knows where he's going to be, but he's a sound mind. And when he's a sound mind, he writes this note because he knows when it is time for it to happen. He won't. No one. He'll be too scared. But with his sound mind, he begged for death. But he knew that if Thomas had read the note when he gave it to him, that they would have debated about this for ages and they wouldn't have killed him. I mean, they haven't killed him as of yet. It was from where I've gone. But the fact that Thomas is now dealing with that, he's now read that note, and he now knows he has failed his friend. I mean, the note says, "Kill me if you are ever my friend. Kill me." And now Thomas has to deal with his guilt of he did it, he got it wrong. He had this note. He thought the time was right. He thought it was when Newt was had lost it, but it was instead he left them behind when Newt is probably, and they tried to argue that Thomas tried to argue that Newt, I think it was either Thomas or Brenda tried to argue that it's probably better for him now that he's that he can't feel anything, that his mind's gone, he's not having to worry about stuff anymore, whereas Mio saying no, he's probably screaming in his head. And now Thomas is still with the fact that he's left his friend in that state. It's not safe for him to go back. And it's just so hard a book to read. It's so I feel like Robert State here. It's just you really can't if you're not a sound mind, if you're not in a good place yourself, you cannot deal with these books. They're just I mean, like I thought they would have gone for I thought they would have gone through the process to get their memories back. In that I wasn't sure how it would progress from that point. But I thought the memory I think it's called the swipe. I thought that wouldn't have been on until later in the series. Or I didn't actually think it would happen at all, but I thought it would have ended on that they would have got the memories back and they would have successfully done the trials and all this stuff, and those who'd made it through the trials would have survived, would have gone through, but it's just so hard. I mean, it was, reading about Chuck, reading about how Gally was forced to attack Thomas, and that Chuck was forced to jump in front of Thomas and take the fall. And you're grown to hating Wicked, and you're throwing all these mixed signals off the second book. You're like, is Wicked is good? Is it really? And then all these mixed signals from Teresa. I'm probably butchering that name, but you don't know what to believe anymore. And then the fact that Wicked did this. Wicked gave them the flare. I mean, it's something it's contagious. but you you can. Sorry, my laptop went dark here. It's contagious, but if you're not exposed to it, you won't get sick. At least that's my understanding of it. So from my understanding of it, is they took these kids when they were young, and they kept them safe and prepared them for the trials. Because like in the movie, you see them in these tanks, which gave me the impression that they were test tube children. Except, well, I think maybe they are test tube children. I mean, I think maybe Thomas and Teresa weren't. I think maybe they were born normally. But if they have created these kids, they've created them to have this illness. And that's really horrible. They've created this, put them through all this just to tell them, you're gonna die. Well, you're not die, but you're gonna go insane. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. Unless you can go through our trials and you can finish them and you can maybe survive them. And maybe we'll be able to get the cure this time. We may need another 30 trials, another 30 different batches of children to go through all these different variables to work out what the cure is. And you may never live to see that day. But we're gonna give you that cure. We're gonna give you that disease anyway and just watch you slowly rot. And I hope that's enough incentive to do what we say. Because we've done everything for you. You're a hero, you we didn't kill you. It's just so I can't deal with this victory. It's so hard. I mean, there's one more break after this. And I really hope they come back. I really hope this isn't the end for Newt. I hope that we could step in, or the right arm, or someone just does that helps them. Whether it be that they find a cure, that they've, or something like giving them bliss and until they find the cure, or they put it right prisoner. It is so hard. I know I'm gonna be a wreck when these movies come out, because it's gonna be so hard watching. I mean, it's one thing to read it, but to watch it as well. To watch someone lose their mind, it's like a really extreme Alzheimer's. Like Alzheimer's, you see people, they start to forget things, and that's hard enough as it is. But it's just so horrible. And I've read Hunger Games. I've read The Uglies, and The Uglies isn't really that dark. It's more kind of eccentric, quirky. Hunger Games, nah, didn't really have that much of an effect on me, but this is just too much. I mean, I'm gonna finish it. It may take me a long time to finish it, but I've never had to sort of sit there and go, I need a break from a book. It just stopped me in my tracks. Fortunately, for me at least, when I um read that, I was getting on the bus and I only had like 2 minute bus journey, but if I'd been reading that on the bus and I had a long journey ahead of me, I would have probably been sitting there sobbing my eyes out as I am now. We got into some very strange looks like pastures, but no. So if you were um if you're about to start the Death Cure, well, I say that if you've gotten this far, then you have read it, but if you're recommending this to anybody, for God's sake, recommend that they don't read this in public, that they read this at home, because nothing would be worse than just to sit in a park reading this and then you're broken. That's what this book does to you, it breaks you. There's nothing more I can really say on the book, as I said, I've not finished it. I just had to get that off my chest, because I feel like I'm mourning the loss of a friend, and they're not even real, and it's very difficult. I keep saying that it's very difficult, it's very hard, but it's true. So I'm going to try and read some more of the book tonight, because I know if I keep putting it off reading it, because I know what's just happened, I'm never going to get through it, so I'll try to read more tonight, because I can't keep seeing that page, I can't keep seeing Newt's note, it's just sitting there, it's just in my peripheral vision when I'm trying to read this, and it keeps setting me off, so I just need to push through and read on with the book, get on to the next one and finish it, and then just take a break. I mean, I have a pile of comics and graphic novels I need to get through, but I just need a break after these books. So, I'm gonna get to that. If anyone else has read the series, please share with me what you thought, and if you were in the same state I am now, and if you had similar theories, if you have other theories that you think the book is going to go on to as I progress to the fourth one. I might make videos about the first and second book, but because I've been reading the books right after the other, the books blend together, it's difficult to differentiate between where the first book ends and where the second book starts, kind of thing. Well, more so when the second book ends and when the third one starts, because I know when the first one ends, because it's in the movie, but it's just kind of blur and things of, I don't want to review the second book and mention things that happen at the start of the third book, so I'll need to go back then, but yeah, as I said, just please share your thoughts on the series, and hopefully I'm not the only one who's having an emotional breakdown because of a book and because of a fictional character. At least now I feel like I understand how the Harry Potter fans felt when Dobby died. I think this is my Dobby. Newt is the Dobby. So yeah, I'm gonna go now. I might post a video once I finish the books. I'll see. But yeah, so I will get back to this book And push on, so I will speak to you later.